Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Paul Cavis. I serve as our Senior Associate Athletics Director here for Louisiana Tech. We are so honored to have you here today, and what a great day this is for the university. Welcome to the reborn J.C. Love Field at Patterson Park. This is an eagerly awaited day and a milestone for Louisiana Tech University and our college athletics programs. It's such a special day for our student athletes. Who would have thought that standing near the spot on April 25th, 2019, that this is what we would have here today. With your support, your thoughts and prayers from our Tech family, and your hard work, we did get here sooner than anyone thought would be possible. To begin this celebration, I'd like to ask senior student athlete Connor Killian, who's on our cross-country team and also the president of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. He will lead us in today's invocation, and then it'll be followed by our national anthem from Louisiana Tech cheerleader Mitch Hardaway. Connor?
Dear Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to come today and celebrate. We gather today in thanks for all the hardworking and dedicated individuals on this field and throughout the stands, for the safety of all of the construction workers, and for the patience and understanding of all of our student athletes throughout this long process. But most importantly, we thank you, Lord, for constantly watching over us and driving us to become better versions of ourselves every day. As we look forward, we also pray that you look over all of the future student athletes and fans that will make their way through this stadium. We ask this through your name. Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, hailed the rockets red to them, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the hope of the brave.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and Connor and Mitch, outstanding job. Thank you for opening up our ceremonies. Woke up this morning just feeling extremely blessed and honored to serve as the Vice President and Director of Athletics at such a prestigious institution. And I feel blessed that I've had the opportunity to participate in this ribbon ceremony today. As you know, I'm coming in on the tail end of this entire process, but I can feel the passion and compassion for everyone involved, from everyone involved in these projects. I want to go ahead and have a few thank yous. First to Governor John Bell Edwards and state legislators, our president, Dr. Les Geis, our system president, Dr. Jim Henderson, my colleague and new friend, Sam Wallace, Vice President for Administration and Facilities. I want to thank Adam McGirt, the Director of Disaster Recovery and Strategic Initiatives, and Gerald Jordan, the Associate Athletic Director for Internal Operations. I want to thank another VP colleague, Mr. Brooks Hull, our Vice President for Advancement, and all of the donors who've invested in the facilities through naming rights, Davison and Bundrick family, Tim Cutt, and Origin Bank, our friends at Origin Bank. I also want to thank the entire Lincoln team, from the senior leadership on down. It became very evident that this just wasn't another project for them. This was a labor of love. I want to thank Mayor Walker and the City of Ruston for the opportunity to use the sports complex. I want to thank Principal Dan Bressett and Ruston High School, and Principal Andy Epson and Cedar Creek High Schools. If you're out there, we will find a way within the NCAA rules to return to favor. But thank you on behalf of our student athletes and our coaches. I would be remiss if I didn't thank my friend and colleague in the industry, Tommy McClellan, for his part in all of this prior to his departure to Vanderbilt. We were able to exchange voicemails today, and I wanted him to know and how excited I was to come in on the tail end of this project, but thank him for the part that he played. And I want to recognize the perseverance of our student athletes and coaches and support staff over the last 2 years, and how despite the adversity they faced, they competed with excellence as they represented the university while not having a place to call home on campus for almost 2 full years. I want to thank the leadership of our head coaches, Lane Burrows and Bianca Duran. They led with appreciation for the process as our student athletes were chomping at the bit to get in here. And as I've said many times before, this project is bigger than athletics. This reflects the city and the pride of our city and state and students and student athletes, campus and the surrounding community. And you know, oftentimes athletics serves as a front porch and the opportunity to highlight all the excellent research and all the excellent things happening on our campus. And so we realize that this is bigger than athletics. There's an economic impact for our local businesses, as we will now have the opportunity to host conference and national championships and regional championship opportunities, and obviously just the landscape as you enter our campus community. So just grateful, and these facilities will show that we will not back down to anyone. We will compete with excellence. So with that, we'd like to invite our president, Dr. Les Scott.
Thank you, Dr. Wood. Isn't this a great day? Despite these sprinkles that are coming here, we don't let little things like that slow us down around here, as we've known over the past couple of years. But it's time for our Diamond Dogs and our Lady Texter softball teams to get to using these fields, and so we appreciate everyone coming out today as we celebrate this. I'd like to take a minute also to send some thanks, and first and foremost, to Governor John Bell Edwards, and I'll have more to say about him in a minute. Also President and CEO of our University of Louisiana system, Jim Henderson, who drove all the way up here today to be a part of this. Our senators and legislators who are here today that have been so supportive of this and many other things for this institution. Senator Jay Luna, one of our very own, our alumni. Senator Jay Morris has done so much for this specific project here. We're thankful for him. Our local representative is doing a great job for us in Baton Rouge, Representative Chris Turner. And Representative Patrick Jefferson, right here, that's always been with us every time that we've needed anything, he's been stepping up. And also Representative Francis Thompson, again, one of our true loyal alumni and a legend all over the state. The board members of our Board of Regents, Ms. Judy Brown, the newest member to the Board of Regents. We're so glad to have her from our community. And Randy Ewing, such a great individual supporter and provided a lot of the Tech family as a result of his family. And Bob Levy, been such a good friend of mine over all of my years, and so glad to have him. And finally, I want to mention Charlie McDonald. I have to call him Coach McDonald because he was my junior high football coach in 7th and 8th grade, and so it's really special to me to have him here today and to be a part of this. Thank you all. We have our University of Louisiana System board members. that Steve Davison, the newest member of the University of Louisiana System Board, and Miss Liz Pierre. Thank her for being here. Somebody that's walked hand in hand with us all the way, Mayor Ronnie Walker, and thank you, Ronnie, for being here and all of the things that you do outside of this venue. Working with us from facilities planning and control, they've been so helpful, is Steve Lasavio and Sarah McCann. Again, Sarah is one of our alumni, been very helpful, and so has Steve, been up here every time that he's needed. From the Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness, it's Casey Tingle. Again, Casey is working all over this state, every corner of the state, and he made the decision to be here today, and we're grateful for that. We've had some architects working on this, and I have to tell you, they've done a remarkable job in a very difficult circumstance, and nobody could have done it better than Louisiana Tech's own Tim Brandon and his team. I might mention 7 of his employees are from Louisiana Tech University. Fenner Jolly McClellan, the engineering firm that also worked tirelessly to get this facility done. And in fact, the tornado passed at 1:15 that night, and early morning, they were already here assessing the damage on this facility and have done a great job in design and construction. And I'd like to recognize Matt Wallace, Louisiana Tech graduate, one of my former students. So if he messes up on the concrete, I get the blame. And 11 of 15 engineers that work at IA Fenner Jolly McClellan are Louisiana Tech grads. And Clint Gray from Lincoln Builders, our own local group that has just worked an incredible amount. And he's the CEO of Lincoln Builders. But I will tell you, 2 days ago, he was out working a backhoe out front to clear dirt to make sure that we could have this event today in these games. And that's the way they've been all through this, and we're real grateful. And we've recognized some of our other local people, and we'll have more to say about them in a few minutes. So 22 months ago, April the 25th, 2019, we came out here and began to assess the damage of the EF3 tornado that had ripped through our campus and passed right over this facility. And that morning, we mourned the loss of 2 lives here in Ruston as we began to figure out how we're going to move forward as a Tech family, as a community, and as a university. And we experienced incredible selflessness in the aftermath of the storm. Our students, faculty, staff, community members, and friends from all across the region came together in special ways to help us through this recovery process. Thank you all for that. But one of the first people to reach out to me was our Governor, John Bell Edwards. And he's been here by our side all of the way through this construction process. And Mayor Ronnie Walker has provided exceptional leadership throughout our community and supported our campus recovery and rebuild in many ways. Exactly 1 year ago, after our architects and engineers had completed the preliminary plans for this athletics facility just 1 year ago, J.C. Love Field and Patterson Park were released to begin construction. So all that you have seen here today happened within that 1 year. And so we're here to celebrate this grand opening. As I've watched this facility grow this past year, I've come to realize the energy that this part of our campus brings to us. And it symbolizes the loyalty of our alumni and our friends and the commitment of our students. It symbolizes the leadership of all the people that have come before us. It symbolizes our hopes and dreams, not only for Louisiana Tech, but also for our region and our state. And it symbolizes the economic impact that these facilities will have on our city and parish. And the impact will be felt very soon. In fact, this spring, as Conference USA has decided to bring their Conference USA baseball tournament here, which will have a very positive impact on our whole community. And it also symbolizes to every visitor that comes to our campus that this institution is built with quality, with character, and with purpose. We certainly could not have gotten this facility off the ground without the commitment of our special guest, Governor John Bell Edwards. He was here the day after the tornado, and his support for Louisiana Tech has been unwavering. He's been a personification of loyalty for us, and I consider him to be a member of our Tech family. Governor Edwards worked with us to ensure that state and federal support to start rebuilding as soon as possible after the tornado. He saw then the importance that today is in enabling our student athletes to compete on our field this season. So we're proud to have Governor Edwards' support and honored to have him here today for this celebration. At this point, I'd like to introduce somebody that's very special to the Tech family as well, a man whose parents attended Louisiana Tech and whose heart is loyal blue, except when he's wearing a demon purple jacket. The president of our University of Louisiana system, my good friend and colleague, Dr. Jim Henderson.
Thank you, President Geis, and thank you for your leadership at Louisiana Tech. You know, being the president of a university is a difficult job, day in and day out. But it's in moments of crisis that you see true leadership. When President Geis texted me just before 3 o'clock on April 25th and said, hey, we had a tornado come through campus, I, of course, laid awake the rest of the night, but I had a lot of comfort that we had the right leader in place. Of course, we didn't know in the dark of night the extent of the damage. We didn't know the loss of life of our Grambling State student, Kendra Butler, and her son, Remington. Certainly didn't know the destruction that had occurred on this campus and around the city of Ruston. But by that afternoon, with the leadership of Mayor Walker, everyone in the state of Louisiana was Ruston strong. I remember driving onto this campus early one morning and seeing the destruction firsthand, and facilities, when they were hit by a storm of that magnitude, can really take your breath away. But it paled in comparison to when Les took me into University Hills, and we saw the destruction of the residential facilities, but more importantly, the faces of the faculty and the residents of that area. It's really the human impact that sometimes gets overshadowed by facilities. When we looked into the faces of those faculty, we saw people that didn't know what was coming next. But there was resolve that was evident from even those first days. And I'm inspired and grateful for the leadership that President Geis and this entire university has shown for this community. When you think about Louisiana Tech, you think about the tenets of Tech and how those are reflected in its leadership. Of course, the one most important to me is loyalty. And I've told the story many times about my father in 1943 when he and 21 of his teammates were called overseas to fight in World War II. And the loyalty shown to them by the legendary Joe Ia, when he said, I'm going to hold your scholarships, and when you come back, and you will come back, you're going to come back to Tech and you're going to finish playing football. And they did, all of them. I think of the loyalty of great Tech alums like James Davidson, like one you're going to recognize later today, Billy Bunger, like one that when he walks into a room, you take notice, Carl Malone. I saw Carl earlier today. First time I met Carl was 1991. I was in Billy Bunger's office. He was changing a cast after he replaced my ankle. And all of a sudden I felt a presence in the room, and I looked, and I've never seen a door frame filled to the degree it was filled by Carl Malone. The morning I was here, right after the storm, Carl was here. Didn't get to talk to him because he was on a tractor, moving debris, moving trees. And I realized at that point that really loyalty was more than about Louisiana Tech. It was about the people that are represented by Louisiana Tech. And certainly that's represented in the leadership of your president, Les Geis. It's also represented in the leadership of the man I'm about to introduce. Because through a year of unprecedented tumult and disruption, from global pandemics, from 6 main storms that hit Louisiana, through the tornado from almost 2 years ago, he has been by our side. And he's always asking the question, what do you need? And how can I deliver for you? He just released an executive budget that will go before the legislature this year that calls for the most significant reinvestment in higher education we've seen in almost 14 years. To me, that's a testament of, it's a representation of loyalty to the faculty, the staff, and the communities that are represented by these universities. And I'm so humbled to get to serve under his administration. Folks, I hope you will join me in giving a very, very warm welcome to our governor, Governor John Bel Edwards.
Thank all of you, and I appreciate the introduction by Jim Henderson and the work that he does on behalf of the state of Louisiana and the University of Louisiana system. And thank you, President Geis, for the tremendous leadership that you provide here at Louisiana Tech. I will tell you, there's not a stronger, more visionary leader in higher education anywhere on any campus than Dr. Les Geis, and you all are very blessed to have him here. We're all very blessed in Louisiana to have him. And his leadership was never more evident than it was on the morning after the tornado, when I came in to look at the damage, and he and I and the mayor, Ronnie Walker, driving through Ruston, driving through the campus and looking at all the damage, but already students and people from the community were out cleaning up. They weren't waiting. And we saw students from Louisiana Tech University in the community of Ruston going to people who they knew wouldn't be able to clean up on their own because they were old or they were infirm. And they were already there doing that. It just really reminded me, it inspired me yet again in the goodness and the decency of the people of Louisiana. And we looked at the damage together, and he said he was going to need some help, put it all back together. And I said, well, Dr. Geis, we don't want to just put it back together. We want it to be better than it's ever been. And as I look at this facility, Dr. Geis, I think you overdid it a little bit. But no, I am very happy about the $43 million invested here on this campus to make sure that we fully responded to that tornado. And I am awed when I look at the facilities today to see how far that we've come, to know this was a team effort. There's state and federal funding, there's insurance money, but there's also funding that was raised here locally to show the support of this community. And you know, quite frankly, it's been a tough period of time since the tornado hit. The pandemic started in Louisiana in earnest almost a year ago. March the 9th, we announced the first case. March the 14th, we announced the first death. Almost 10,000 deaths since then. Another 30 were announced today. The pandemic has really been tough on our state. Then we had 3 hurricanes, one of which was still a hurricane strength when it came through here last year, or Hurricane Laura. And then an ice storm and so forth. And so the opportunities that we've had to celebrate have been few, but today is one of those opportunities. And so I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you all. I appreciate the work that everybody is doing. I want to thank all of these legislators behind me, all of these members of the higher education boards. They're doing tremendous work on behalf of the state of Louisiana. And Dr. Geis talked about the ability of student athletes to compete on these fields. And that investment will allow that. But the investment Dr. Henderson just mentioned a while ago too, in higher education that's in the executive budget for the legislature's consideration this year, it will allow student athletes to compete throughout their lifetimes. Because we need to invest in higher education. We need to pay our faculty better. We need to make sure we fully fund the TOPS program, and that the growth in the TOPS program is also reflected in the GO Grant program, the need-based aid for higher education. We need to make sure that we're paying the mandated cost increases that our universities are faced with every year. And we need additional funding in the formula. All of that is contained in the executive budget this year. So I look forward to making sure that we do make those investments in our student athletes, just like we're investing in this facility that we're on right now. So I want to thank all of you for everything that you do in Louisiana every single day. Tell you that I am optimistic. I'm excited about our future here in Louisiana and across the country. And I believe we're getting very close to the end of the pandemic. But we do have a ways to go. We need to get people vaccinated as fast as we can, and we need to make sure that the virus does not spread, especially the new variants, which all over Louisiana and are more easily transmitted. And then if we can do those things over the next several weeks, I really believe we're going to be in a much, much better place. And then perhaps when you're kicking off the football in the stadium this fall, things will look much, much closer to normal. That's what I'm hoping for, that's what I'm praying for, that's what we're all working for. And I'm asking for your assistance to make sure that we can get there. Because the decisions we make about how we behave, the things that we do and don't just affect us. The very nature of a pandemic is the decisions we make have an impact on the entire community. So it's up to all of us, and I'm asking that we all do our part to make sure that we beat this pandemic, that we have as few cases, as few hospitalizations, and certainly as few deaths as possible. So thank you all very much for coming out today. I'm excited. I am looking forward to coming back and seeing a game here, maybe during the tournament that Dr. Geis mentioned. And then together, let's make sure that we're working every single day to advance the state of Louisiana. And there is nothing more important than we can do than invest in the most precious natural resource that God has entrusted to us. And that's our young people, and in particular, in their education. God bless each and every one of you, and thank you.
Thank you again, Governor Edwards, for your leadership and so much for coming up here. I know that you haven't been out, getting out very much, and so for you to come up here to this day is particularly special for us. As we all come to watch the Bulldogs tonight in their game and watch the victory Coach Burrows is going to bring for us, right, Coach? And all the Diamond Dogs. And as we come for years in the future to watch this, let's never forget the significance of this day and the impact this is having on Louisiana Tech University. I'd like us also to remember our colleagues, our sister institution down in McNeese, who will be here playing tonight. And I got a note earlier today from President Darrell Burkell at McNeese State University that said he wished he could be here. He's got his hands full with a much more difficult situation that we faced here. So let's keep him in our thoughts and prayers, and all of the McNeese family in our thoughts and prayers. This time I'd like to invite our distinguished guests to come and help us cut the ribbon to open J.C. Love Field and Patterson Park. Right here.
All right. I'll help Rex come up here, so I'll help Rex all of this. Could I have the ribbon shift down just about the middle of the G and the middle of the U? There we go. That's even. And then if you're right there, the folks on the right side, if you'll kind of squeeze in a little bit more. But this side looks great. Okay? So if you can't see me, I can't see you. Just try to find a little window. I think the only people I can't see are in this little cluster right back there. So if you'll scoot up to the ribbon a little closer and get in the gap right there, that looks great. And then coach, yeah, maybe keep coming around a little bit. Yeah. There we go. And then if you were in the background, I can see you. So if you'll either join the photo or move to the side. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. So I'm looking good here. Can we have a view of you behind Dr. Guys? If you'll just move around to this side, it's really crowded on the left. So, yeah, Adam, and then I don't know everyone's name. If you'll come around to this side, there we go. A few more people, just move around over here. That way y'all aren't so crowded. And I still have these 5 folks right here in the background. So if you'll keep coming to your right, yes, ma'am. Everything else looks great. So to give everyone a part in this, since you don't all have scissors, we got the one nice large slice in the center. Everyone else, I'll have you clapping and smiling. I know the mask. You'll look up here, and you'll all be clapping, and I will count for you to slice. Okay? So let me get a test photo, and then I will need you to keep going. Everybody right there in that little cluster, just keep going right past the circle. Thank you. Okay? So everyone clapping, go ahead and get the happy that's going on. And then I'll go 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Okay, we're not done yet. So, as the final part of this celebration of the baseball facilities, we're going to put the governor.
Yeah, I got
to
the wide
task
shot of
here,
everybody. So.
and we're going to ask him to throw out the ceremonial first pitch.
That is going to be sick.
Do I have to squat?
You need a catcher, man.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You know, I was Tyler's pitcher about 35 years ago. I played here too. It was fun. Yes, sir. Thank you. I got to give him a better target. I got to give him a better